Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to F1 Manager episode 21. Sponsor plan review as we enter summer break. We're getting $5.5 million from this, of course, and we still have a cushion. The cushion's getting a little bit smaller, but we're definitely into the later phase of the season already. It says we have a mandatory activity one, but I've not been collecting money on these as of late. I doubt that we just added 13, nearly 14 million, but we'll see. Maybe we did. Watanabe has leveled up. Our technical chief now is 77. And our head of Aero, Tersu, a 78. And no, as always, the mandatory ones have not been paying out. And I don't remember getting that money up front. Maybe we did. I don't think we did, especially considering we started in debt, right? And the debt was not severe, but we barely came out with a positive balance after doing all of our sponsorship stuff later in the day on January 1st. We barely had money, and yeah, we would have had that 16 million plus. So the game still has some issues, bugs, and we're talking substantial, because that's $16 million through two huge mandatory activities that we have not been compensated for on the front end or the back end of the deal. That hurts. That hurts a lot. I mean, that's a lot of money that we would have taken in other forms if I'd known that that was broken and not functioning as it should. We are up to 14 million though, with just the 5.5 million added to the bank. That is enough to do a facility upgrade that I've been waiting on, that I need to take care of. You'll see why here in just a second. But before I cough up that money, I need to know that one of our cars is not in serious condition, that being Otakovan's. She DNF'd, I think, for the first time this season. Chassis, rear wing, and underfloor destroyed for Otakovan, so big time crash. That does have me worried. Oh, we lucked out. We really lucked out. We were at 95% before the race weekend. We're coming in at 86, 87, so it looks like we actually took no damage in the powertrain, or if we did, it was a couple percent. Huge relief. Let's get to that facility upgrade then. Now, I want to stray away from the car development for this season. However, something is a bit of an obstacle at the moment. So we have the new car part test center, the new suspension simulator, and those are coming in, giving us some bonuses that we didn't have. They're not substantial versus nothing. They definitely help us out. And in the case of the suspension simulator, we couldn't even improve the suspension simulator without this. Now we are able to make healthy gains in that department, or at least make gains that we just couldn't do before. Design Center, of course, is up to level 2, but then there's the other 3 that I have not touched at all since the start of this playthrough. The factory is down to 61% on its condition, but it's still 97% effective. I'm not going to bother doing anything with that until I have to, until I'm forced into making a move, because it's expensive. And the monthly upkeep goes up a lot too. The simulator, down to 55%, but the effectiveness is still 80%. At 80%, we can get by for a while. But the wind tunnel just dropped below 50% and has gone from 80% on the effectiveness down to 60%. And now all of a sudden the wind tunnel is looking pretty bad. Pretty worse for wear. And instead of spending $1.5 million on refurbishing a level 1 facility, I'm going to cough up the 10 million and get it to level 2 and see a huge jump what we're getting out of it. Now, 55%, I have a feeling that once we drop below 50, the simulator is going to give us the same problem. It's going to cost 10 million to do something as well, and we might need to save that money and deal with that one. Again, the effectiveness is why I haven't spent the money, but once it drops another level, and you can see how little it does as is, I mean, it's a tough sell to be spending that money. It really is a tough sell. But once you get backed into a corner, I hate the refurbishment unless it's a tier 5. It is such a waste of money to refurbish. You just have to time your upgrades as you go along, and it's more cost efficient to upgrade and get the natural 100% out of that it is to refurbish along the way. It's the operations, though, that we need to get back to soon, but we only have $3.5 million at the moment, and I think we're going to need to be spending another $10 million here shortly. Factory still at 61% and still 97% effective, so it may get away without having to do something, but what happens once we get below 50? Is it going to take a huge hit on that one too, slowing the development speed? And we already have just the project capacity of 2. That one's only $7 million to upgrade, but right now we don't need to be spending that money. Looking at the operations, I'm realizing that a couple things have really gone astray over 7 months, as I haven't really looked into these since about December or January of this year. The memorabilia room is down to 25%, 40% effectiveness. The marketability hit, the team attractiveness hit, hurts. All of that hurts. But the mentality for staff and drivers, our mentality is terrible. I'd like to get that back up. And again, I hate refurbishment, but an upgrade to level 4 is only $1.1 million. We're going to go ahead and invest that now. Very strapped for cash, and this is a risky move, but the turn of the month is coming here real soon. So we're going to spend $1.8 million on an upgrade for the rear wing. I only have 2 engineers to put on it, but we'll try to get that done. Front wing upgrade is also coming in about a week. So we're going to be spending money on manufacturing new front wings. But again, the upgrades, I'm focusing on the strong areas of the car, and in this case, the drag reduction is the most important element for your rear wing. So we're going to gain 0.32, so third of a kilometer an hour, when we were 2.5 behind, and we've gained maybe half a kilometer this season, maybe 1. We're still a ways behind, but that does close the gap a little bit more, and you still make gains in other areas as well, and that's with 0 hours contributed. Vinter gets a +1 to braking, control, and adaptability this month, while Otakovic gets another +1 in braking, now a 95, +1 in smoothness, adaptability, and accuracy. Being that we are nearly maxed out, according to our person in charge of our pit crew, whatever their title is, being that we're almost maxed out, there's a lot of instances where you're going to start running into your training sessions. There's only so much you can get out of them, because you're going to hit the max and then it just drops away from there. And so you're not actually getting the full complement of what you're trying to work on. So for the summer break, I'm only doing a little bit to get it back up just before we go racing again at Zandvoort, and then ultimately having an almost identical outcome by the end of the month. In fact, up until the last day of the month, it will have been slightly positive. And the last day of the month is going to come down more to the fatigue side, as, you know, you finish the month on a race weekend. So actually, we're going to come out neutral, slight positive, 0.1 kind of gain territory. But I'm going to put a little extra emphasis into car building this month with 6 sessions over the course of the month to bring us up to a 61 in the car building category. But most of the summer break is going to be used to improve our pit stop times and bring us down to a 2.52 for the estimated pit stop. Pretty solid improvement there, and let's hope that's what we need going forward to get into that top 10 more regularly. Zariel Maskell, our race engineer, is up to an 85 overall, and our front wing design is complete and definitely in time to get it on the car for post-summer break. Upgrades have been difficult so far this season, and a lot of teams made progress over the off-season. That's one of the key reasons why we've been struggling, but we were dead last in everything except acceleration. The new front wing on the car, well, the new front wing, it's a little bit better. For one thing, we've somehow improved DRS effectiveness to 20th. We've climbed ahead of somebody. They made progress somewhere and lost DRS effectiveness to drop behind us. But cornering has inched off of the absolute gutter and just into the bottom territory. Low speed is up ahead of 1 car. Medium speed ahead of 2 cars. High speed ahead of 1 car. Dirty air tolerance ahead of 2 cars. So we've basically caught 1 team. Our sporting director, that was the name I was looking for, is now an 84 overall. The aptitude is the one that pertains to the upper limit of the pit crew's potential skill. I can't race that right now because her aptitude is still an 81 and not increasing. However, I'm not training in aptitude. I'm training in her training ability and processes. Those, I think, are more important at this stage. We're up to a 90 in the training. The ability to efficiently develop the skill of team mechanics. The higher the rating, the faster the pit crew develop through training sessions, and the less performance they lose between seasons. Two very important things to get better. Yes, there's a limit to how good we can get because of the aptitude part. The ceiling is limited right now, but development is more important across the board. Processes, meanwhile, the other one that she is training in, is the ability to develop and refine efficient workflows. The higher the rating, the less fatigue that the pit crew gains from race weekends and training sessions, meaning you could train more often. So train more efficiently, train more effectively. That's the focus right now. Yes, we have an upper limit that we can't exceed, and so for now we're going to be stuck in that high 7 to low 8%. Yeah, you get the occasional mistake from that, but that's pretty clean. We're going to get to aptitude eventually once one of these reaches 100, basically. And at this point, it looks like training's the one that's going to get there first, as it's 8 points ahead and a 90 overall. The moment that hits a 100, I'll change our training focus to be on aptitude and processes. Leadership doesn't matter as much. In fact, she's already got a pretty good rating on this one. I think this one matters the least anyway. High pressure situations, higher rating means a greater chance to minimize the delay from pit stop mistakes, meaning they make a mistake. Oh, they lose 6 seconds. Well, the mistake's already going to cost you a lot and already going to hurt your race significantly. And to score points, which of course is our ultimate goal right now, in order to score points, things have to really be going right. So you don't want to be making a mistake in the first place. 2 seconds lost for a mistake is going to be the position that's going to bump you out of the top 10. So that's the last one that I'm going to bring along. Eventually, yes, we want that to be 100. She's only 44, so there's a good chance that we're going to keep her around long enough to see all of her attributes reach 100. New face on top of the podium, it's Oscar Piastri. Has that been his first win this season? Obviously, in real life, he just won this last race weekend, so good on him, too. So it was a good battle to take that win. Hamilton had fastest lap, but could not take the top step. He was a couple seconds behind Piastri there. Finished second after starting second. Stroll and Bottas, the Aston Martins, both in the top 5. Sainz top Red Bull today, and Gio only securing 12 points amongst them. That's going to definitely set them off. I mean, that just offsets Leclerc's points. Hamilton for Ferrari gained 19. I think the constructors is starting to swing in favor of Ferrari, where Sainz is fairly comfortable in the drivers, but that's going to close it down a little bit. Haas in the points today. Norris for Williams in the points today. And we are dead last. Another DNF for Ute Winter and Orkoven. 21st. 2 laps down. I thought the upgrade was going to make us more competitive. That is the exact opposite of what's happened here. Oh my. Oh, we are in a world of hurt. I thought we were going to cruise through this season and just develop. And the development part, the facilities are developing and we're making that progress. But the car is just a mess. Funny, Winter seems to level up every time she has a bad performance. DNFs today, now she's an 86. Engine and gearbox down to 50 and 52% for Winter after her second crash. The ERS is fine. I think the engine and gearbox aren't that much worse off than they were. They'll definitely cover the next race for us, but we're not yet at the changeover point, so we might have to make use of one of our older parts. But we do lose a chassis, an underfloor, and a suspension, and a failed rear wing, so almost a complete overhaul of components. Aerodynamic components on Winter's car is going to certainly cost us a pretty penny. Unfortunately, I only had one spare suspension. That would have been manufacturing some here, and I didn't get to it yet. I should have noticed. I should have had at least one more ready to go. But both, between the crash and a failed safety check, we only have a single suspension left for 2 cars, and a turnaround time for a race weekend that we can't get around. So we're going to have to emergency manufacture a suspension, adding 900,000 to the cost and making it cost 1.2 million. Fortunately, we just barely have that covered to not see ourselves go into debt, but yikes. Monza in the books. At 8 races to go in the season. Sainz takes another win and pole, so it's been a little while since he has done that. Not as consistent. Bottas gets second though in the Aston Martin Ferrari. Looks like Aston Martin's been putting time and money into the car, as have Kick Sauber. They seem to be the two that are suddenly coming up the grid. Maybe Williams. Norris has been up there a lot lately. Haas has been up there a lot lately. We've seen others like Mercedes kind of slip down the order, so they might be focused more on research than current upgrades. But Oedekoven takes 19th and Venter finishes dead last. 3 laps down without a single decent lap in this one, which makes me think that Venter had damage very early on, and pretty serious damage. Surprised that they didn't just DNF and save the components. So are you kidding me? That's what, 3 out of the last 5 races that Venter has had some sort of serious issue. Just 3 cars in the lap down crowd, and Oedekoven was amongst them. We just cannot win. We beat 1 RB and 1 Kick Sauber, but we don't beat 1 team. Another month gone by into September already. It's so late into the season, amazingly. But we are going to be busy down this stretch. Now, we just had summer break, so there's going to be less development than normal. I also have a facility where the driver development bonus is a lot less than normal. I have not refurbished it or upgraded it in a while. Braking +1 for Venter. Oedekoven gets a +1 to control, +1 to smoothness. I'm okay with the slowed rate of development. I mean, they're both doing pretty good as drivers right now, and the better they get, you get them to 90 plus, and somebody's going to want to come in and pay us off to take them off our hands, and we can't afford to suddenly pay them substantially more. We need to focus on the facility, so I'm okay with slowing the driver development down at the moment. What I'm not okay with is the car development. We really need to keep pushing through that area. Another $5.5 million in the sponsor plan. Happy that that's all working out at least. Cushion's getting smaller, but we're also into that last kind of phase of the season. Third major research project, all in, all hours, and it's the side pods that I'm going to do for this one. The drop was 15% at 13.95. Getting 14 out of the 15% back means the side pods are covered. Mostly. Pretty dang close to right back where we were with the current iteration. So that's good to have that one done. And we've got 52 days till the next period, but of course it's September, so that's going to put us into mid-October. I think we only get one more period after that, and this is only our 3rd component. We are very much not going to get everything covered off, but finances are still a very, very tricky thing at this point. We're going to have some issues when it comes to, I think, our wings. Of course, we're focusing on the upgrades and getting them here and now, and that's going to at least translate to some of that coming back for next season, but yeah, not sure. Next will definitely be the suspension, and we'll cover off most of what we're losing for the suspension as well when we go to do that.
Well then, it's not long until we get started here, and we should be in for a tightly contested race. Could this be a big race for that man, Alexander Albon?
They've done really well to secure a P7 start. Some solid points could be on the cards today.
So let's see what today has in store, shall we? Here we go, with the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It's lights out, and away we go.
Without a good top speed, this is going to be a difficult circuit to get a result on. Oedekoven starts from 20th, Venter from P22, and Venter has absolutely ruined the end of her season. I'm going to speed things up almost right away on this one. as I don't have time to sit through a full race here, so you're going to get a very shortened view on this one. Sorry about that, but I did want to at least make sure I get a race in. But look how far off pace Winter is from the get-go, and she wasn't even beside anyone, so there was no reason for her to be backing off like that. We are starting on the mediums. I'm going to try to make a one-stopper work here and see if the alternative strategy could benefit us. Of course, I think a DNF is going to be necessary for us to really beat anyone, especially Winter. Anyway, what Winter did to screw herself over as she catches back up there, but Odokoven also gets the dive under by Ricardo and drops down a position. Winter in the last race did not DNF, but was 3 laps down. And as suspected, she did have a big shunt. Her brand new engine that I put in because it was Monza, and her engine was in really sad shape, and it wasn't time to switch to the 4th engine yet, but it was Monza. I figured I'd put one race into it and then go back to the others until we got into the final 5 races and then use that engine the rest of the season. She didn't fully destroy it, but it's down to 68%. Brand new engine. We're gonna have a real problem with Winter trying to make it to the end of the season without coughing up $5 million and a penalty. And we obviously don't want to be spending $5 million on an engine. I'd really like to make what we have work. And as she's at the back of the grid anyway, as Odokoven moves back forward as we're still on lap 2, getting that overtake done in case of Winter. Let's go ahead and start to ease off. Ooh, going up the inside. Can you finish the push? No. And no DRS just yet. But let's settle in and make our way forward here into the race. 2 laps done. Magnussen. Leclerc with a problem. Leclerc's not moving. Leclerc is not moving right now. And out. Leclerc is out of the race, and we have a virtual safety car. Turn 1. Probably a lockup from P2. Goes to look up the inside. Oh! Boy, you don't see that one very often. Lost the rear end on turn 1. Usually it's a lockup, and then you can't bail out to go off the runoff into the runoff area, or try to commit to the turn and then don't quite make it. So Leclerc out of the race. There's one position forward. We're guaranteed 1 car into the top 20 now. For a 51 lap race, it hurts to underfuel. You definitely have to be conservative with fuel after that, but a VSC really helps make up for that. We're down to 1 kilogram underweight. But the VSC has ended. Odokoven overtakes Hauger momentarily. Lost that position back. In fact, lost more ground. Lost the DRS range. So when Hauger re-overtook Odokoven, squeezed us out in such a way that we lost so much ground that we got overtaken twice and got left behind within that lap. So really bad outcome, and we find ourselves running solo already. It's lap 8. At this point, one of the best things I can hope for is just that we can keep up, and that when others make extra pit stops, when they make 2 stops or 3 stops maybe in a case or 2, we could find ourselves back in the mix by going along and making it right through this first period of time decently well, and then on the softs being quick enough to keep up and hold a position with others later. Lawson behind us with a pit stop issue. Hauger pits. You can see we're ahead of them for now, and if we're going to be a pit stop ahead for now, it kind of does put us ahead of them. Odokoven 16th, Zinter 19th, Hauger with a pit stop issue. This is a track that's difficult to overtake and not difficult to overtake. The circumstances of that is the long straightaway. Sign stops. The long straightaway. If you have good top speed, it's easy to hold other cars off. That's why Williams did so well this weekend. They're good for top speed, but not for aerodynamics. Cars in that similar situation, fared well. Fuel's neutral, by the way, and we are into our pit window, and we're going to be pitting pretty soon. I think we want to drive aggressive at this point as we're down at 50% and just push till it's time to pit in. Try to get a little extra pace. Venturi is 21st, so she is last, but Odokoven is still battling, and 17th, 18th, and for the most part, we're going to be able to push harder on fuel, and we're going to be faster on the softs, and maybe can keep up better. And if everybody else is 2 stopping, we do find ourselves essentially in the position we're in right now, which is 18th. I think at this point that's where we could maybe hope to finish, but we'll be faster on softs, so maybe we can finish a little bit higher. We are going to double stack here, and Oudekhoven, of course, is up first. There's a pretty healthy gap between them. It's too late to abort. We've got a yellow flag.
Now
Sector 1, there's a crash. Let's double check what's going on. It's McLaren, it's Haas coming together. I think that's a car that's pit versus a car that, well, they're on the softs. I'm not sure how that one's worked. Maybe they undercut and went early. Definitely some damage between the pair. How we doing on our pit stop? Pit stop for there's 6.5 seconds, which holds, no, it doesn't hold up Winter, but 6.5 seconds for Oudekhoven, so we have a problem. No traffic on the exit, but our race is ruined by the mistake. P20 is where we come out at, and Winter 2.8. That's a slow stop too. That's a really slow stop. Terrible job by our pit crew. 4 seconds off for Oudekhoven from where she should be. More than 4 seconds off. 4.2 seconds off from where she should be. You could have almost squeezed in 3 pit stops within the time it took them to do that one. Crap. Like, do we not get enough problems already? Norris is definitely carrying some damage. Yeah. Why couldn't we have had 2 more DNFs and, you know, get bumped up to at least being ahead of a few drivers? Good news is everybody's on the lead lap. Lawson pits, but we're still 6 seconds behind. We should have been ahead of him. Crash. Got another crash involving multiple cars. Damage is being carried. This is finally our chance. Can't beat anybody on actual speed. It's turn 3 where this one takes place, and that's just a touch of wheels. Just a touch of wheels. Magnussen and Ricciardo. So in the race itself, Sainz has a very healthy advantage right now, 12 seconds ahead. Sonoda, though, Mercedes hasn't done much this season, but they're in there. Ricciardo picks up a 5-second penalty. I don't know, just a touch of wheels. Seemed like one of those ones that nothing would happen, but heads right into the pits. Oudekhoven just 2 seconds behind after he comes out. Not sure we're going to be able to catch him unless he's carrying damage with a touch of wheels. I highly doubt that he is, and yeah, he's quickly pulling away. Winter is going to get lapped here relatively soon. It might be the only one to get lapped today, but Oudekhoven and Ricciardo might be at risk for that. Hauger pits and comes out behind us. We're ahead of 1 car. Feels right, but there's not really much of a reason to push as Winter goes a lap down. Beating Ricciardo, beating Magnussen doesn't do it. We've got to be higher up the grid. Another crash, another chance. What's this one going to do? It's Norris on the inside of the Haas. Oof, run out of room. And that's on Norris. Lawson was the Haas involved. Lawson under the investigation? Or are they both? No penalties given. Right. Okay, they get things a little backwards from time to time. And neither one seems to be going backwards right now. Lawson with the crash, though. So the kind of the carryover, possibly, of the damage from the first one. Turn 2. Just misses the apex.
As the car makes contact with the wall.
Pretty bad on that one. Definitely carrying some serious damage. Able to continue on. Magnussen's also going a little bit backwards. But beating Magnussen and Ricciardo and Lawson doesn't do it. We got to catch Norris to beat a team. We got to catch Alonso. Lawson peels off into the pits. Can Winter beat Lawson? We don't have that very good top speed, though. The DRS giving a real chance there. Oh, and that's... Why would I... Oh, come on. So, I'm ahead of Lawson. Clearly ahead of Lawson. But here comes Albon in the other Haas. And what happens? Lawson doesn't blue flag and get out of the way, even though he's clearly the one behind. I blue flag and get out of the way. And Lawson stays up the road. To beat Williams, you got to catch back to Hauger, who's driven away from us pretty quickly. Like 6 seconds up the road. Jeez, brand new softs, I'm guessing. Not brand new, but definitely better scenario than us. Oudekhoven does overtake Norris. Use mediums and damaged. Lap 51. 50 of 51. Let's push on. Use that battery. Let's go aggressive. Let's see what you can both do, though. Winter was pretty well screwed. And Odokovid. Hauger's already ahead of Magnussen. Like, how is there 11 seconds between us and Hauger? That's insane that in just a few laps there's that much separation between us. Battery empty for Winter.
Sainz crosses the line
Down the final
first.
straight.
He's taken the win.
That definitely rules out any chance of catching. Sainz takes a comfortable win. Head of Bottas, head of Albon, Piastri. So Albon and Haas doing the team order thing helped Lawson. They seem to have hurt Albon as Albon went from second down to third. That's it for Winter, finishing 21st, not catching Lawson. Meanwhile, for Odokoven, how are we looking? It's 4 seconds, 3.5 seconds to Magnussen, but Hauger is well away from us. So 18th and 21st is not a great result for us at all. Oh, and we run out of battery now, just before the straight. That's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there.